Smith County Board of Commissioners meeting is now in session. Honorable Mayor Jeff Mason presiding.
Thank you. Mr. Clay Reese, would you lead us in prayer?
Let's bow. Our Heavenly Father, we approach thy throne. We thank you so much for this beautiful day in which you've blessed us with. For this opportunity, Holy Father, you've given us to come together as commissioners, Holy Father, to discuss the matters of this county, Holy Father. We just pray that the blessings be upon it, that we make good decisions, Holy Father. We just pray that you'll be with each and every commissioners here, as the mayor as well, dear Heavenly Father. Pray that you'll bless this county, Holy Father. We just pray, dear Father, that you'll be with us and watch over and care for us. And Holy Father, we want to pray for those which it's our duty to pray for that are sick. Pray, dear Father, that you'll bless them, comfort them as only you can. And those, dear Heavenly Father, of our county that may be suffering over loss of loved ones, we pray that blessings upon them as well. We ask you, Father, to watch over and care for us and go with us on through this night and on through life. Which in Christ's most holy name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody to our county court meeting. We'll start with the roll call, Ms. Stacy.
Shane Green,
Here.
Glenn Reese,
Here.
Terry Givens,
Here.
Billy Bass,
Here.
Greta Kirby,
Here.
Jason Stewart,
Here.
Jimmy Winfrey, Daniel Cripps,
Here.
Dalton Pascal,
Here.
Shannon Minchie,
Here.
Erica Evil, here, Ron Schumate,
Here.
Ron Cowan,
Here.
Linda Nixon,
Here.
Kobe McKinney,
Here.
Barbara Knappel, Charles Kent,
Here.
Bill Reese,
Here.
Tommy Bain,
Here.
Joey Nixon,
Here.
Dennis Hackett,
Here.
Justin Delahaye,
Here.
David Gross,
Here.
Frank Woodard,
Here.
All right, in your package, you received the minutes for the August 12th, 2019 County Commission meeting. Are there any additions or subtractions to those minutes? If not, I will take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the last county court meeting. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 6 in your packet is announcements, and that is the 3-star confirmation letter. And it was in your packet, and basically that is just a formality that we have to get done before we can apply for the 3-star grant. It just goes along with it. It talks about the policies, you have been doing the policies, debt policies. I think all this has been done throughout the year, and we just need to make sure that you guys are aware of that and get your approval to submit that letter.
Motion to submit letter.
Second by Shannon Green. Since this does will concern money, we'll do a roll call. Stacy? I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions? Roll call, Stacy.
Shannon Green,
Yes.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Givens,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
Yes.
Dalton Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
Yes.
Erica Evil,
Yes.
Ron Schumate,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Justin Delahaye,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
23, nothing passes. Thank you. All right, next up is the amendments to the general. amendments to the agenda or approval of the agenda. The only thing on the agenda that changed tonight is Bonnell did not make it tonight, so that item has been moved off the table. That's what I think. Are there any other additions to the agenda? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Second. I have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is set. We do not have anything under old business. Does anybody else have anything under old business to bring up? All right, we'll move on to the county mayor report. All right. I want to start by saying thank you to Sheriff Hopper, Chief Roberts, Jeremy Williams, and the County Building Maintenance Department. Back earlier, we received a PO request for repairing an ice maker in jail. The repair estimate was for $1,000, and they would also replace it for $3,000 on a 10-year-old unit. County Maintenance took the part numbers off the estimate, found them on Amazon for $127. They ordered and replaced them. The machine is now making ice again. That was two departments working together to save taxpayer dollars, and for that we thank you all. Another, Ms. Kristen Sanders has been working to save tax dollars at the fitness center. She has cut 11 hours of part-time help by changing the center's hours and scheduling the part-time hours different. She also saved $500 by cutting out a contract for music in the center. She has adjusted her thermostats to cut energy bills. We thank Kristen for working to save taxpayer dollars and provide excellent service. She and I will continue to look at other ways where cuts can be made over there. I myself, in the last month, have met with companies that do energy and water usage audits. They are looking at what can be done to reduce usage and monthly bill costs to make our buildings more efficient. Later in tonight's agenda, you will see a contract with Berry Group. Upon approval and signatures, they will begin looking at our revenue streams. I think a lot of you probably heard a presentation from her the other night at the County Commissioner regional meeting. What they do is they come in and look at all your revenue streams and make sure that the money that is being collected is going in the right departments. It's going to the county where it needs to go to the county, and the cities where it needs to go to the cities, and back to the state where it has to go back. What they do, if she doesn't find any problems, she doesn't get paid. But if they find some, there's a sharing partnership with that. I think this could, I've heard other mayors talk about they found upwards of a penny at times on money that should have been coming into them. So I'm excited to see what that'll do upon your approval tonight. One other thing I want to touch on, we got a letter, you all got a letter here recently from TDEC, or Brandon, I think, sent you a letter from TDEC stating that no open burning was allowed on a permitted landfill. It was decided that the landfill would no longer accept brush due to this regulation. In the past, we had took brush and burned it. Some of the brush was part of an agreement concerning wastewater and brush by the county landfill and the city of Carthage. TDEC alerted to us and suggested that we no longer burn back in late winter, early spring, I believe it was, Johnny. We were asked by the city of Carthage to look into chipping their brush. Johnny Lee contacted several companies about purchasing or renting a chipper for the brush. I also consulted with a gentleman in the wood chipping and tree trimming business, and he highly advised that we did not want to get into that business due to the cost of chippers for maintenance and labor and rentals. Johnny did receive some quotes back, and they were far more expensive than what we wanted to spend. I alerted Mayor Smith that we would not be chipping brush, but would take the cities if they wanted to chip it at our standard tipping fees. I know there may have been some question, and as it was mentioned in the letter to the citizens of Carthage City, that I didn't negotiate in good faith. I believe we have tried to help, but do not want to add to our costs at the landfill or do something that is not allowed by TDEC. I just wanted you to know the story if you ever received any comments or questions. During the August meeting, I presented a CPPN resolution for approval to borrow money for the development of the Interstate Industrial Park on the first reading. This was part of the project that was started probably 4 years ago. The County Commission passed a resolution in January of 2018 that said Smith County would provide matching dollars for the $1 million grant for the ECD for site development. This was part of that original CPPN that was passed on 2 readings in 2018. Once the CPPN got to the controller and the finance committee, part of the money for development was left out of the approval due to resolutions and documentation not matching. The okay to borrow money for the purchase was approved. The county did purchase that in July of 2018. When I came into office, we began working to get this next CPPN completed to gain approval. After the budget trouble and subsequent tax increase, I do not believe we are in any position to borrow any more money at this time. This would totally go against what we're trying to do to get us on better financial footing in 3 years with our operating county. Since then, I've been working with ECD, TVA, MTDIA, the Development District, and Tennessee Central to find alternate funding options to complete the project. We have met twice and had numerous conference calls. At this moment, we are in the infant stages of some type of partnership agreement between Smith County and Tennessee Central to finish the project. I will have more info in October after meeting with attorneys and DCD to see how that will work, and if it's a good deal for both sides, being Tennessee Central and Smith County taxpayers. Mr. Charlie Lyons with Tennessee Central is here, and will address us just real briefly on the early stages of this. Come on up here, Dr. Charlie.
Feels awkward looking over here when I need to be talking over there, so if you don't mind,
Maybe
Mayor.
you've talked about it.
I'm Charlie Lyons. I'm with the Tennessee Central Economic Authority. Many of you may remember Four Lake, same organization, but there was a Four Lake Regional Industrial Development Authority. So that's the same, just changed the branding. So I'm the president, and we work with the Mayor Nesbitt. And we worked on the application to help get the property and help mainly get the grant. I've had a lot of discussions with Mayor Mason. We're, as he said, the early stages. We do not have the exact vehicle, but I'm here to tell you that our position is to come in and try to fund this as a developer. And that would mean no risk to Smith County, no tax increase, no financial strain. It's just pretty simple in the concept, but it will take Brandon, your attorney, our attorney is Bob Rochelle, and actually another law firm that we will engage. So until they give us the awareness of what we can do and how we can do it so that you're not at any risk, and we can work with ECD, there's USDA, TVA I don't think would have much to say. I think they've already finished their grant, but there's a lot of different organizations. I'll take any questions. I don't know that I can answer, but I will tell you, you're welcome to call me and we'll try to meet and have a longer discussion if you need to. But I hope by October we would have some answers. So, not looking at it, it's hard to look at the horseshoe, but.
Can you come back in October when you've got more details?
Yes.
I was already figuring that out, but your meeting is October I think I'm out of town, that's what I'm trying to say. But
We'll have something.
But I mean, we should have something in the mayor. But I mean, in between and even afterwards, I have a daughter getting married October the 5th, so we're gone after that, sort of chill out ourselves, so, on a personal note. But again, we believe in this project. The Tennessee Valley Authority believes in this project. If the state of Tennessee is going to put $1 million grant in it, they believe in it. We already have a meeting set up with the commissioner with ECD, if necessary. We're taking all these steps to try to get everybody lined up. And I wish I could tell you exactly what the vehicle. The main thing I want you to know is we're working sort of behind the scenes, and we're looking at putting our dollars into it, and we're looking at making sure that there's not a risk for Smith County in borrowing money or raising taxes. So I think that's the ultimate goal, is when you spend money, you want to get some kind of return back. So we're just trying to make sure you don't have to spend any money and take any risk and not know what that return would be.
You wouldn't have to spend any money?
No, ma'am. Now, when I say that, on the development.
There will be some legal fees.
I started saying there's some legal fees.
Some engineering fees that's already been accrued over the past year that we won't have to pay, but we won't have to borrow money for that. We'll be able to take care of that inside our industrial budget.
And when I say that, in the context of the development, there may be, like I said, attorney fees. The attorneys would have to help me understand exactly, this vehicle, and it's going to cost us some money to do that. We did agree to share that cost, but that's probably a cost you would have had anyway. So it's not going to be a major thing, I don't believe.
And how far are you going to develop this? How far are you going?
We're looking at trying to develop what ECD has required, which is 46 acres and 2 pads. And again, I cannot give you good answers. The 2 pads in my concept would be a 200,000 square foot pad for that size building and 150,000 square foot pad, and then have an access road. Wouldn't be paved, it'd be just a gravel type road. But again, we're trying to make sure we meet some requirements. When we do this, everything we do, every time we take sort of some steps, we have to go through ECD. Okay, here's what we've done. And if they say, no, well, you're out of line, you're supposed to do this, okay, we'll go back and have to redo it. But basically, that's what we're looking at. It's a phase 1. You still have property that will be developed. So it's not the entire whole 117 acres. Right. So, but I mean, that is a question. And again, that's engineering. We have some concepts. I'm hoping that we can get an engineer to look at it and say, we think you can maybe get a 220,000 square foot, something a little bit larger. One of the things that you might, it may not mean a lot to you, but you're on the western part of the Upper Cumberland, and you're in a fantastic position to recruit to this site. That's the reason people are looking to support you. So you already have almost $500,000 of monies that have come in to help make this what it is today. We've put in over $100,000 cash, not counting any man hours. We didn't even keep up with it. And I'm gonna tell you, the young lady that worked on it worked a lot of nights to 9 o'clock. So worked weekends. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but she's working for you. So just keep that in mind. I mean, it's not like we're coming in here and we don't know. We have a lot of resources to help us. We have a lot of resources professionally. We're just trying to make sure we get everything done properly so that TDEC, ECD, TVA, USDA, everybody's all happy and most of all you are. We do not come in to tell you what to do in your community. We're just coming in here if we can help. That's your decision, and tonight is just sort of an introduction to say we're working on this so that when you hear things, well, I don't know. I mean, they expect y'all to know everything just like, the mayor, which I think he does.
If you put money into it, it's gonna be like a joint partnership with the county or what?
It could be anything, again, that's,
Or ownership?
it could be any kind of a joint partnership or, because you own the land. We're looking to come in as the developer. So we're looking.
Put money in, if you want something back out of it, so.
Basically what we want out of it, if there's $1 million grant, which is for development, we're looking at putting anywhere from I'm guessing, the minimum we can put in is $1.4 million, the minimum. So now, there's $1 million grant come back, so we would get our monies then. Our attorney and your attorney, along with some lead attorneys, would decide how the rest of that's decided.
Do you think you can develop it for that money?
I think it's going to take more than that, but we do have the funding. That's the big important thing. We have the funds. We normally do not do this. This will have to be taken to my board. My board consists of 5 county mayors, Macon, Smith, Trousdale, Wilson, and Sumner. Some of them are aware, some are not. Also have 2 appointed from the state Senate and State House of Representatives. and I will have to present that to them in October. That's October the 17th, I believe, is when I will meet with them. But I have talked to some of them already and sort of gotten a green light to proceed. And that's all we're asking y'all. We're not asking you to make a resolution or anything, but I do want to try to answer what questions I can. Anybody else have a concern or anything?
And Charlie and I, one of the things we did talk about, and we're in agreement, that this, if this works out and we get it developed, the type of jobs, we'll be very selective in the type of manufacturing and jobs that we bring into this county, because we don't want just anything in this. I mean, we want it to be able to change some futures in our county and make it, the jobs be a better pay, higher standard of living for everybody. What the goal would be, I would believe, is to get the kind of jobs that would entice some of our 50 to 60% of our population that drives out of this county every day to come back in this county and work.
I will give you this so that you know, I've been in your county many times from different perspectives. I worked for the state 5 years in recruiting. We did land a project here years ago. They were only here about 4 years, and then they sold, overall the whole thing was sold. The owners at that time were looking to move to Smith County. Once they sold it, the new owners just sort of pulled back. So I've been in your county for a number of years. I brought in people on the helicopter. We've landed here, looked around, I've driven them. One of the things that you may not think of, that when we brought the people here, I mean, it's a long way from the airport. When you bring people here that have been in Boston and other places, they laughed. I said, well, was the drive okay? What drive? I mean, they really, because they weren't in traffic and they were moving, and the guy said, well, it's 45 minutes from the airport. I don't know how fast he's driving, but, so an hour to the airport. This is the perfect as far as that relationship is concerned, and that's an important one. There's a lot of check-off boxes, as you know. So, again, I will leave some cards with the mayor. Has my cell phone number on there. You're welcome to call me. And you're welcome pretty much to call me on if you have the need and you need to talk to me Saturday, I'll talk to you Saturday. If you need to talk to me Sunday, I'll talk to you Sunday afternoon. But I'll talk to you about any time, and I'll try to be as straight up, as honest as I can. This is just a business deal. We don't make any profit off of it. This is what we're supposed to be doing. So we're not here. I was in a public meeting one time, and then when I sat down, and there was 3 of us, and the guy did say, he said, well, Mr. Lyons and so-and-so and so-and-so, they're going to make a lot of money off this. And I thought, I get my paycheck whether I do or don't do this project. That was one of the things that we've had challenges with. Are we doing enough? There's 3 of us, and we're working 5 counties as much as we can. We do little things, sometimes that is big to a small town, and we just are looking for this opportunity. We have been supportive and tried to help Smith County get here. So what we're saying now is we're going to walk with you, and we're going to put some money in it. You're welcome to call me anytime. Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Like I say, we'll know more in our October meeting what this is going to look like. We're setting up some attorneys meetings to see what this is truly going to look like. Again, we're not borrowing money. We're not asking for approval on any of that. We're not putting outside of what we've already spent in engineering and incurring these legal fees. That's the only part that we will have in going forward. All right, Ms. Daisy, your financial report.
On page 9 begins the cash flows for each fund that's been updated for July and August, which the rest of the year is still estimates. Does anybody have any questions on those before I move on? Page 15 is a updated fund balance report for the general fund. I did a handout for you for the rest of the funds. We're just getting those printed. This, I still call it estimated. This is reflected the balances that come off of the annual financial reports that you have in this packet also. And I call them estimated until the auditors are done with their work, because they could find adjustments that need to be made, of course. Does anybody have any questions on these balance reports?
And that would change this a little more down because of an invoice that we're not going to get paid on.
Well, actually, I included that, but that is a good point. There are a couple of things that as I was winding up, closing out the books, that we invoice quarterly for the SROs that the school agreed to pay for. They did not account quite enough in their budget for the fourth quarter payment, and they were unable to reimburse the full amount. I think we billed them, it was $60-some-odd thousand for the fourth quarter, and they were only able to reimburse, I believe, $36,000, somewhere around in there. So that was some that we didn't get reimbursed for. Mayor and I did plan to sit down and have some meetings between us, Sheriff's Department, School Department, to try and figure out exactly how that they can pinpoint that a little better for their budget. So that is definitely something that we had to contend with. Of course, for the general fund, we did wind up with $423,000 to the good, but of that, you'll notice I put the reserves that I estimated to be at $241,000. So that is technically not spendable. So again, all of this is, have we not done these decreased spending for the end of the year, and have we done the transfer for the jail note, we would not have wound up where we are on this report. Anybody have any questions about any of that? I included on page 16 and 17, these are the August.
One of the, in those reserves, we were able to, Judge Collins had some concerns about
Yes.
those reserves, and we were able to get him straight down on
Yes,
these.
that includes an adjustment in that $241,000 for reserves. That includes an adjustment to the traffic school designation reserve. I know that Judge Collins had questions about that, and we went back and actually spoke with our auditor, and she was able to bring for me, I believe it started in 2007, does that sound familiar? And I was able to go year to year and just look at how the reserves have been tracked, what spending. There were years that I found that the revenue that was supposed to be accounted for that was fully accounted for, and it's supposed to be half general revenue and half designated revenue. There were times that I found that things in minutes that were supposed to be tracked as expenses against the reserve, that maybe over the years, I'm guessing as staff turned over, people were missing things. So there's a lot when a resolution is drafted that makes things be divided, and then half goes here and half goes there. There's a lot that can get missed if you have staff turnover, because you got, there's not really a book for that. So I'm trying to write down as much instruction as I can on exactly how that's supposed to be calculated. I did send the results back for that to audit, had them look over it, and I also sent it to Judge Collins for him to review. So that includes that adjustment. Pages 16 and 17 have August PO request on there for y'all to review. I did condense that down to everything that was over $500. I did have one commissioner request during Budget and Finance, they reviewed the same list, that they would like to review them all even if they're under 500. So what I plan to do going forward is maybe email that out, because you can imagine everything that's under 500, the list will be a lot longer, so it might get to be quite a bit printed. So y'all should be seeing those come out electronically from now on. Do you have any questions?
Daisy, which one is the education debt service?
156.
How did it work it out? 135.
Yes, 135,095, that's a good point also. We paid off the school bond debt, and we transferred that small amount. I don't know if y'all remember us discussing back, it was a bank excise tax that was not legally tied to this fund for education debt, and y'all approved a transfer. I don't remember now exactly, it was a small amount.
That's already been took out.
That's already been took out of that, and the school bond debt's been paid, and there's a balance of $135,000 that I've estimated to be at June 30th of 19. Now, we still have budget for the 19-20 year, but all that is for the pass-through of the energy efficiency loan. We do pay the loan, the school's not allowed to hold their own debt, of course. So, their board isn't, so the loan has to come through the county. They will pay us the payment, I will turn around and pay the payment to the state, is how that works.
And that's what, that loan is on all the upgrades they did for schools and the lighting, air conditioning and upgrades and such.
Joey, would you explain to everybody, am I correct, we can't spend that 135?
I was gonna look to Brandon for that too. My understanding is that 135,000 can only be used by education for debt.
That's what when we did the homework on that, that's what we were told, and I looked at it, and we'd all come to the same conclusion. That money's got to stay just for that purpose.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to number 10, committee reports. Accent leave. Joe, would you give us a report on what the accent?
Yeah, so during budget and finance hearings this year, the Ag Center was discussed and was requested that somebody look at ways we could increase revenue. And before I go through this, I want to make sure everybody's clear. The committee's job is to make a recommendation to the mayor, and Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, the operation of that is in the mayor's hands, not the county commissioners, the mayor's hands. So this committee's job is to make a recommendation for that. We met twice. We met the last time last Tuesday, and after several hours of discussion, we decided to make some recommendations to Jeff. The recommendations, we had several, so Jeff and Jimmy, correct me if I missed all this, because we went back and forth a lot.
It got confused.
Yeah, so I tried to go, and also my handwriting's in this too, so. What we were proposed to change was change the pricing to $100 per hour. And book it in 1 hour increments. We got a lot of people now that use it, my understanding, use it for a couple hours during the day, but they use it for the morning, somebody else uses it. So we changed it to an hourly price and suggested that we book it in 1 hour increments, leave a 1 hour gap in between bookings, and have that a minimum of 2 hours. And we also suggested that we set a maximum price of $500 per day. So if you only need it for 2 hours, you can do $200. If you want the whole day, that would be $2,400, $500 per day. We asked the existing bookings be honored for the next 12 months. And we also recommended that nonprofits, and what we kind of, I think, ended up saying as a nonprofit, if you're not taking cash at the door, or selling a ticket to get into, we recommended that the same rules apply, but you get half price. So that would be $50 per hour, max $250 a day, the same thing. So that's the motion we made as far as the recommendation. We just met last week. So,
Ag related, what it was originally built for, ag related
Yes.
stuff continues to operate.
a lot of 4-H and things that operate there now will still continue to operate. But when they're operating from our discussions. Chris Hicks and I was on that board, he kind of brought that. They're using Tuesday mornings during school hours. It's not a prime time. There's not a lot of overlap there, so it's still.
Well, at the end of the day, that building was built for those kind of things. Some of the founding, I call them founding fathers.
I know one thing that came up, this building was based, I didn't know all this when we started having the meetings. The building was based off of a building that's very similar in White County, Sparta. And they charge $500 per day. So that's kind of one reason why we got worried. From our understanding, and I've talked to a couple people since, theirs is older and not nearly in as good a shape and near the amenities there. So I know Jeff's on that board, Jimmy's on that board, the rest are not county commissioners on that board. They're made up of citizens, people have donated to it over the years, 4-H is involved with it, so, did I miss anything else? It's hard to condense 4 hours worth of conversation down, but I think that's the high points.
And we was also told to go back and find the original charter, and we're working on that too.
Yeah, and the committee suggested that, I know it's listed, I think, in your committee you're coming up, Jeff. The committee suggested if we can't find that charter, because the charter for that committee, the people on the committee now weren't around when that was done, can't be found, we suggested the charter be made. So,
Mr. Jimmy, did you want to give an update from solid waste meeting?
I'll start and then I'll turn it over to Johnny, he's here. The big news out of the landfill, of course, for the last few years has been getting a new permit. We are running out of room in the existing sale. We got that permit in the spring, and we did have a bid opening. We bid the project. We actually didn't receive any bids, but that allowed us to negotiate with other companies, and through Mr. Beller and the mayor, we have contracted with Wright Brothers Construction out of Cleveland, it's near Cleveland anyway, Tennessee, and they, according to Johnny, has moved in, and Johnny, if you'll take over from there.
Yes, they mobilized last week, and they just within a couple hours this morning, they started breaking ground, clearing, and moving on right good. They're pretty good with it, so.
And just to, anybody worried about the money, and the money had already been acquired to build this sale. It's already in the budget. There won't be any more, right now, there won't be any request for any more borrowing.
The other committees that met, basically it was planning and zoning, the board of zoning appeals, and we're going to talk about that. Joint of Economic Development Board met July 23rd, and it was just a standard meeting, no business took place then. So, just do that. So we'll move on to new business. Again, Bonnie will not be here tonight, so we'll do that in October. All right, next on the item is appointments. Item number 1 is appointment, is the election of a chairman of the Board of Commissioners. I will take nominations for the chairman of the Board of Commissioners.
Nominate Jeff Mason.
Second.
Joe, any other nominations?
I make a motion that nominations cease and Jeff Mason be elected by acclamation.
Second.
I have a motion to cease and be elected by acclamation. Any discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I thank you for trusting me to do this again. I really do. I will take now nominations for Chairman Pro Tem of the Board of Commissioners.
Second.
Any other nominations?
Make a motion nomination cease, you be elected by acclamation.
Second.
I have a motion, nomination cease, and he be elected by acclamation. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the next 3 through 7 are nominations for various committees and appointments. Library, is to put Sheriff Hopper back in his office to wait on criminal court, the Ag Committee, Planning Commission, and Board of Zoning Appeals. I will take a motion to combine those, or we can vote on separate. I'll do that. Like,
Motion combined.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to combine, all in favor? Opposed? All right, now I'll take a motion to approve these appointments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Chad's the motion, who's the second?
Yes.
Yes, the second. I have a motion to approve all of the appointments. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next is approvals, and we have the Sheriff's Department, Register of Deed, and County Clerk year-end financial reports. These are in your packet. Is there any questions on those?
Question on the sheriff's report there on the contract for prisoner abortion, Daisy might get out there, $6,201. That's not the major contract we have with the state, is it?
No, I actually, well, I can look online and see what the final number was. They don't, that comes directly to the trustee, so I don't know that it would be included in their financials. That money would come directly to the trustee.
The number that's listed, Dave, is $6,201.
Yeah, that is not the contract prisoner board amount for the year. That would be only the checks that they received come directly to their department that they had to bring up to the trustee of payment for.
That's like Jimmy, when we have something over the county, somewhere else that they pay us. They pay the same rate, but they pay it.
The year-to-date received is on page 45 of, listed in our financial statement. It's $768,031 for the year.
And that is right on our projections.
It's code 46915.
Any other questions on that? Take a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Then, motion to approve is second. I have a motion to approve. Any discussion? Questions? Since this concerns money, since it's a roll call.
Channing Green,
Yes.
Glenn Reese.
Yes.
Terry Gibbons,
Yes.
Billy Bass.
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
Yes.
Dalton Paschal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
Yes.
Erica Eagle. Yes. Ron Schumate,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Dustin Dillahay,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
All right, number 2, on pages 43 through 53 are the county finance department year-end financial reports. Any questions on those? If not, I will make a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve this report. Any discussion or questions? If not, Stacy, will you give us a roll call?
Shannon Green,
Yes.
Glenn Reese.
Yes.
Terry Higgins,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Fritz, Dalton Haskell,
Yes.
Shannon Meacham,
Yes.
Erica Ebel,
Yes.
Ron Schumate,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Vane,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Dustin Dillahay,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
Number 3 is the school director's year-end financial report. That is pages 54 through 57. Any questions on that? Ms. Norman, if you're familiar. If not, I will take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
Just the Wrong second. I have a motion and a second to approve this report. Any questions or discussion? If not, roll call, Scott.
Shannon Green,
Yes.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Higgins,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Fritz,
Yes.
Dalton Haskell,
Yes.
Shannon Meacham,
Yes.
Erica Ebel,
Yes.
Ron Schumate,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Vane,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Dustin Dillahay,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Item number 4 is the Smith County Register of Deeds Internal Controls. Brandon, do we need approval on that? Do we have a vote on this, or just for?
It's their policy of the office. Every department's got an internal control policy. It's just for informational purposes.
Any questions on that? Is there any? Number 5, we were given tonight a list of new committees that I am suggesting. If you look back at your packet, there's about 31 different committees, I think is what it is. Probably 6 or 7 of those actually meet yearly at some point in time. So what we've done is kind of condensed that list down to what I think is maybe the most important ones. If a need arises, we can always create a new one and do that thing, but these are just kind of the ones that I feel like are the most important going forward for us. I put a description along with them. What I thought we could do is you have the, I will start, before the next meeting, I'll have appointments for those for your approval. But if you want to have questions or anything like that between now and then, we can discuss discuss those, but that's just some ideas I have, I think would bring more people involved in it and do some different things. Just any questions on that? If not, we'll, you can always get in touch with them before we bring you the community announcements next October. All right, we'll move on to resolutions. Number one is a budget amendment 101 to the general fund. It correlates, Nancy, with the fund balance draws below, is that correct?
That's correct. There's two fund balance draws. The $860 for the general sessions judge was a donation they received prior to June 30. It was a $1,000 donation originally. They used a portion of it. $860 were not used. This is, the judge uses that, I believe, for an incentive program for recovery court participants. Requesting to move that forward into this new year budget. And on 54-710 public safety grants, that's one of the drug coalition grants. They had a $275 donation that came in late June. There was no time to have it in the original budget, so just requesting to pull that forward. Everyone else is working within their budget. Do they have any questions?
If not, I would take a motion to approve amendment 09-2019-01 general fund budget.
Motion to approve. Second.
Two, that's you?
It's me and somebody else.
One here, and who was second? Dustin was second. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution. Any questions or discussions? If not, Stacy, do a roll call, please.
Shannon Green.
Yes.
Glenn Reese.
Yes.
Terry Givens.
Yes.
Billy Bass.
Yes.
Brenda Kirby.
Yes.
Jason Stewart.
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey.
Yes.
Daniel Fritz.
Yes.
Dalton Pascal.
Yes.
Shannon Meachie.
Yes.
Erica Eagle. Yes. Ron Schumate.
Yes.
Ron Cowan.
Yes.
Linda Nixon.
Yes.
Toby McKinney.
Yes.
Barbara. Charles Kent.
Yes.
Bill Reese.
Yes.
Tommy Bain.
Yes.
Joey Nixon.
Yes.
Dennis Hackett.
Yes.
Dustin Delahaye.
Yes.
David Gross.
Yes.
Frank Woodard.
Yes.
All right, item number 2 is budget amendment for the 131 Highway Department. It is just, it's moving inside there, they're just changing money from one line to another, is that correct, Dave?
Yes, sir. We're taking $40,000 from RS2 to AE3, just a different type of oil. Just moving from different one oil product to another.
Any questions? If not, I will take a motion to approve that, to approve resolution 09-2019-02.
Motion to approve.
Glenn first, Tommy was second.
It doesn't matter.
Let's do it that way. I have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. Any discussion or questions? If not, Stacy, will you roll call?
Glenn Reese.
Yes.
Terry Givens.
Yes.
Shannon Green.
Yes.
Billy Bass.
Yes.
Brenda Kirby.
Yes.
Jason Stewart.
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey.
Yes.
Daniel Fritz. Dalton Pascal.
Yes.
Shannon Meachie.
Yes.
Erica Eagle. Yes. Ron Schumate.
Yes.
Ron Cowan.
Yes.
Linda Nixon.
Yes.
Toby McKinney.
Yes.
Charles Kent.
Yes.
Bill Reese.
Yes.
Tommy Bain.
Yes.
Joey Nixon.
Yes.
Dennis Hackett.
Yes.
Dustin Delahaye.
Yes.
David Gross.
Yes.
Frank Woodard.
Yes.
All right, resolutions number 3 and 4 are concerning a wheel tax for the general fund and a wheel tax for the highway fund. If you remember, last time in August, these were presented as a $150 wheel tax to go to the general fund to reduce, to be used those funds to offset the property tax and reduce it. Once this went before Budget and Finance, their recommendation out of there unanimously was to do a $25 general fund, a wheel tax that would reduce property tax and be capped at 3 years, and also do a $25 wheel tax to go to a highway capital projects budget. This is the first reading of these two, and all this is saying is that we're going to send this to referendum. We're not passing and putting this on tonight by anything. This is just, we have to have 2 readings to put it on referendum in the March presidential primary election. Are there any questions or discussions on these resolutions?
Vote on separate or yeah?
If you want to, we can vote, yeah, we'll vote on one at a time. I just, since they're the same, I don't think we want to have this discussion before we did that.
I'd like to say something.
Okay.
We can't put on the ballot that the $25 wheel tax will offset that portion of the property tax, right?
That is a question from
That's correct.
Yeah. With that being said, us as commissioners are going to have to sell that to our constituents. I mentioned this at the budget meeting when we talked about it, that us as private individuals, I had the idea to maybe sign a petition, put an ad in the paper. No county dollars pay for it. We front the money as individuals to sell this to the public, to know that it is our intention to, with every effort we have, to reduce the property tax by that amount, because it can't be worded that way on the ballot, and to ensure the trust of the public to be able to do that. And I think when the time comes, we should, it's a little early, but when it gets time to come to that election, I think we need to talk about it, or the public's not going to vote for it.
Right. Well, I wouldn't want to put another tax on without it reducing property taxes. That would be correct. And Mr. Steve Key with Clifford's office ran me some numbers on number of vehicles tagged in 2018, and there's a lot of cars in this county. It's like 20,133 is what I'm seeing as far as tagged vehicles. Well, if you run those numbers out on a $50 wheel tax, that's about $1 million, somewhere around $1 million in revenue, which translates into somewhere around 25 cents in property tax. And if you do the 25, it's around $500,000, so it's about 12.5 cents. Now that's just rough figures. Is that pretty? You work it every day. That's pretty close. The average month's around 1,550 if you average them all up. Biggest month's March, somewhere around 1,915. Lowest month is September. This month around 1,239. Is that pretty straight? And like I said, it comes out to an average around 1,550 a month. I did look at it. A $50 wheel tax would bring in $334,000 in cash flow starting in July through October, so that would offset that money that we had been borrowing in the past. That would offset getting to that 3-year period about that, and the $25 would be somewhere around $167,000. It would decrease that amount. So that's kind of the numbers, that rough figures. Like I said, that could change on that. As we always say, we never know when the next F5 tornado or earthquake comes through and suddenly changes everything. But that's kind of where we're at. Just some rough figures. So.
Repeat the number of total vehicles.
Do what?
Total number of vehicles.
Somewhere around 20,000. So that's about average of one per person.
I should have asked this question long ago. Does this include motorcycles?
Motorcycles, no, it accepts motor vehicles. If you look in the,
Yeah, excluding them over there.
it's motorcycles, section 1.
The new one does, this one with these numbers.
This excludes the motorcycles, motor-driven bicycles, scooters, farm tractors, self-propelled machines, not usually used for operation on public highways or roads, and motor-driven vehicles owned by any governmental agency or government instrumentality.
That's the same as the jail, it's on there now, Jimmy,
I remember motorcycles was on the other. We may have done two different resolutions.
What's the reason motorcycles can't be on this?
Can be if you want it to be.
It was 25.
25 on motorcycles. So it was 50 on cars and 25 on motorcycles.
We had a separate resolution at one time, is that right, Ms. Norris?
I think that's right.
For motorcycles, because it was accepted in the first resolution, when we first had it on, is that correct?
Will we have to specify certain CCs and up, size motorcycle, because you've got scooters here, excluded as well, so if you do this for motorcycles, if we did this for motorcycles, what would fall under scooters and what would fall under motorcycles? Because
Under state law, it's gotta be 50 cc's or above to be driven on the road. 49 cc's is below, it doesn't.
We've also got your listening deals now, and
Low speed vehicles and medium speed.
so that's something.
What are
For the gators and stuff like that.
street legal.
UTVs and stuff like that?
Take that one.
Just discussing this, I agree with you that we need to educate what our intentions are with this. And I do think we also need to host, it's been brought up, like a town hall or something.
Yes.
We need to hear from the public because, we have our intentions with it, what we want, this money to go towards. But we also need to hear from people how this would affect them as well.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we definitely need to have a town hall as commissioners, and we need to, the thing about it is, unfortunately, the property tax was not, apparently educated properly to the public because there's been so much false information out there, and we need to make sure that we're on top of this from day one, getting right information out there about it, and we need to have a town hall a month or whatever. We need to sell this, or it's not gonna pass. And I want my property tax lowered as much as anybody. I pay property taxes, and I want them lowered. So, and if it's 10 cents or 15 cents or whatever it ends up being that we can lower it, that's one chisel at a time to knock it back down. So. But that's just something as commissioners we're going to have to get together and do, not on the county's dime to sell it. So I don't care to get prices when it gets closer to time on what it costs to get a couple full-page ads if people wanted to pitch in money or however you want to do it. I don't want to take up a lot of time in this meeting, but we can talk about it moving forward. But we need to do something to sign a petition, and I mean, every commissioner may not be for it, but the ones that are, need to not just sit on their hands and wait for people to call them, so.
All right, any other questions, discussions? Again, this is just a first reading of 2 to put it on referendum. This is not putting the tax on right now. This is giving the people an opportunity to vote on this.
Also making known that this is for 3 years only.
Yes.
Yeah.
Caps of 3 years.
Cap.
For the general fund one.
The general fund is 3-year cap, the highway is 10 years.
And the reason behind the 3 years is because the 3 years is when we hope to be out from under the tax anticipation notice.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, I make a motion that we pass the first reading of resolution 09-2019-08.
Second.
Motion by Kobe, second by I have a motion and a second to pass on first reading 09/2019-08. Is there any discussion or further questions?
Are we adding motorcycles to it, or
That's a good question, I'm glad you mentioned
are we adding motorcycles in the street legal ATVs, or are we going just like it's
Motion
written?
to add that, Brandon?
We have to make a motion, we need to, I'll just read you the statute on that. The tax may be levied on any motor vehicle taxable by the state, as long as they're taxable by the state. It's a simple matter of just drawing a line through those exceptions, if you want to do that.
So we don't need a motion.
Well, I understood Mr. Winfrey had asked that question earlier, and I probably should have spoken, but I take the motion on the table is to approve it as it's written here. Is that correct?
Yes,
McKinney,
but,
or did you want to amend that to?
well, did we get a second?
Yes.
it. You got a second?
Well, what's the discussion on, what,
The first was, are we, just include motorized vehicles?
I mean, what amount? The full amount, or you said previously it was half the price for motorcycles? Or-
Tags are cheaper, aren't they? Aren't motorcycle and, stuff like that, the tags are cheaper, right? So it wouldn't be right to charge them the same price.
So what would, I mean, let's discuss it. What would,
Even at half, that would be reasonable, I believe, half that amount.
If you'll recall, we ran into, well, may not recall, Mr. Winfrey, we ran into this issue prior to because of that very issue Ms. Norris just pointed out. Because the amounts are less, there was a debate, I believe it was on the floor, and I'm doing all this from memory. Some, maybe, how many years ago?
The last one we did was for the jail, which would have been in 2008 or 9, probably.
And I want to say it was $15 at that point. So it sounds.
That's for a motor, that's for a car, a truck was $15.
Or the motorcycle.
It was, the whole, that's what it is at $15.
$15 right now, yes.
Yes, the whole
That's for.
I don't know what we did with motorcycles.
It's not motorcycles, it's not on motorcycles.
It's not on
It's not on motorcycles. It's,
We don't have one currently on.
do we know how many motorcycles we have in the county?
Do we want?
How many we have?
We have.
Like, you know, like a ballpark, like 1,000 or 5,000 or?
That's not included in that 20,000 figure he
No.
put out on vehicle, correct?
No, since motorcycles.
And since then is when we've added these, low speed and medium speed vehicles, which was something that we didn't even deal with when we put that.
right.
Mr. Miller, this matches our existing wheel tax.
Yes, sir, it does. And I would suggest that if we did do something with motorcycles, you could always come back and do something separate. If you decided to do that.
Would it have to be separate on the ballot?
If you're gonna put it on for referendum, if you don't amend this one, I'm working on trying to figure out the way to do that. If you don't amend this one, you would have to put it up as a separate one. Does that make sense, or did I just mess that up?
And the same.
So then so the reason I asked that question is then you'd have three
Three resolutions.
or potentially four, because one
do for both of them, yeah, that's right.
motorcycles for both,
Or
or
you change this resolution to include it.
If you want to do it tonight,
It's a
you
hell
would
of a lot.
amend it, amend the wording in the resolution.
Yeah.
Vote on the amendment, then vote on the motion.
Clifford, was motorcycles included in the $50 that we just took off?
Yes, but it wasn't the full $50.
Right, but it was included in that, we took it off. So it was included in the monies that we're estimating that this one would bring in, is that right, Joe?
That's why it's.
So that would change our estimations
Yes.
if we left the motorcycles off.
Yes.
What about motorcycles over to jail?
The confusing part, if we go that path though, is motorcycles will pay a different rate though, because they don't pay on the jail. I'm saying it's wrong or right, it's just a different, it won't be a flat number for Cliffville, it'll be a different rate, because one will get potentially 3 tags, one will get 1 order.
I just assume leave it as it is.
So don't tax the motorcycles or the ATVs. It don't seem very fair.
Now, they use roads too.
If we'll do that, but I'll take that one change you said.
Correct. It would take an amendment to this motion to strike those.
To change the wording to,
But you gotta make it, are you gonna charge them the 25, or are you gonna do it increased?
yeah, I'm saying, but if you do that, then you would have to have 4 on the ballot, if there's a good ballot, you know, take it rid of them.
Or if you only do motorcycles for just the general.
Could we do it just for the roads?
Do whatever. That's why you want to make the motion.
What you wanna make motions for, yeah?
The motion that's out there now is just for the general.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't got that.
Yeah, I know, but once we
Yeah.
get there, I mean, and then if we're, that's why we need to make up our mind, I guess, that's why I wanted to discuss it. I wish we could have discussed this the other night budget, that didn't even cross my mind, but, you know.
Yes, sir.
I look at it this way, you got your ATVs, you got your motorcycles out there running just as fast as any car or truck on the road. My opinion is, if they want to run just as fast as they do in a regular vehicle that it does on the road, I think it'll be a straight across. Regardless of what you're riding, whatever, you should do straight $50 across the board.
Are you making that motion as an amendment to Kobe's motion?
Yes, sir, I'm not getting into a motion.
That's 25, not 50.
Right, 25. On the general fund. I have a motion to amend Kobe's motion to include everything that runs on the road, outside of, or, up from 50 cc's and up, or 49 and up.
The language, what Mr. Ballard wrote for language.
Call it the tax may be levied on any motor vehicle taxable by the state.
Any motor vehicle.
That'll eliminate your exceptions.
So limit that for the former.
Yes.
On the motorcycle, $50.
Be 25 on the first one. We haven't voted, this is on the $25 for the general fund.
Second.
Second.
is amendment.
I have a motion and a second. All right, I have a motion and a second on this amendment. Any discussion or questions?
I'm confused.
All right. You talk about? This is just for resolution 1 for the 3-year cap. Is a $25. He made a motion to approve. Mr. Hackett made a motion to include any vehicle taxable by the state, according to Mr. Ballard. So that brings all the other vehicles involved in the $25 as well.
This vote is only for the make it for all vehicles.
Right. This is just.
And this is only for 3 years
Yes,
for the general fund,
Correct. To be voted on by the people.
to be voted on by the people,
correct.
if it passes.
Yes.
If they're as confused as I am, they'll probably vote for it.
That's why I said we need to sell it to them.
We need to explain
I've been
that.
sitting here listening the whole time, and didn't sell me, I mean, I don't even know what it really entails.
Does that include like the low speed, medium speed?
Any vehicle taxable by the state.
So I said $50, I'm saying $25. Okay, so it's $25.
It would be, now, the next resolution that we're gonna vote on is another $25 wheel tax for capital projects for highways. And then we'll have the choice at that time to do.
So it will be on all the vehicles, so.
If we have to bring that up here in just a minute, once we get through this one.
This is just to amend Kobe's original motion.
My motion was to only pass, or to approve the first reading of the $25 wheel tax for 3 years for the general fund.
Correct.
Something important to note is this amendment will make our number right that we've been calculating $950 million.
Yes.
That's that if this amendment doesn't pass, that number will change, and none of us know what that
No, we
is.
don't know what it is on board. Cliff will probably get us those numbers of motorcycles.
It would go down, not up.
Any other discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Oh, we got voting on the amendment
Vote
or?
on the amendment first, to include any vehicle taxable as taxable.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Givens,
No.
Shannon Green,
No.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
Yes.
Don Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
Yes.
Erica Eagle,
No.
Ron Schumake,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Destin Delahaye,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Amendment passes 19 yeses, 4 noes. So we will make that. So now we go back to the original motion with the amendments that we are first reading of a $25 wheel tax to be put on referendum in March. And that will be on all motorized vehicles that is allowed, that is taxable by the state. Is that correct, Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir, with a cap of 3 years.
With a cap of 3 years. So I have a motion and a second on that. Any other questions or discussions on that motion? Not roll call, Stacy.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Givens,
Yes.
Shannon Green,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
Yes.
Don Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
Yes.
Erica Eagle,
Yes.
Ron Schumake,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Destin Delahaye,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
And it passes on first reading. All right. Item number 4 is a resolution for a wheel tax for Highway Capital Projects Fund. It is Resolution 09-2019-09. It is written exactly the same way the first one was, so if you want to leave it the same, I will take a motion to approve. If not, I'll take a motion to amend it to include the same language as the last one.
Motion to approve as is.
Second. It changes the cap. The
Yeah,
cap,
it's a 10-year cap.
10-year cap.
I have a motion to approve by Chaz and a second by Ron Schumake on this one. Any questions or discussion? For a minute. Questions or amendments? I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Shannon Green,
Yes.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Givens,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Greta Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
Yes.
Dalton Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Minchie,
Yes.
Erica Eagle,
Yes.
Ron Schumake,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Justin Delahaye,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. All right, budget amendments we've already talked about. Item F is notaries on page 69. I will take a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion Dennis, second Ron. I have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, in other business, Ms. Sherry Jackson with the U.S. Census Board is here to come and talk to us about the census next year.
I'm going to introduce Mr. Gabe Powell. He is a 12-year Army veteran. He's a partnership specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau, and he's going to talk to you tonight instead of me. I'm also a partnership specialist. We work the Upper Cumberland counties for the Census Bureau, and I live from Cookville, grew up in Fentress County. He lives in White County, grew up in Putnam County. I'm going to hand you all out folders. It says Philadelphia in our folders, but we're just out of Philadelphia region. We are not from Philadelphia. We're locals, pretty much.
Good evening. Yes, we're both relatively lifelong Upper Cumberland residents. I got a little more than 12 years in the military. I just retired this long ago, actually. So
He also taught at Western.
came back after 20 years and realized all of a sudden I'm allergic to Tennessee. So it didn't bother me when I left, but my goodness, it is hitting me now. But I'm here just to take a few minutes of your time. Mayor, since Mayor Mason serves on our Complete Count Committee, which is the committee of trusted voices that's tasked with getting the word out and getting support from Smith County. So I'm going to speak to the commissioners here that may not have participated on the Complete Count Committee. And there's a few things I'd like you to know about the upcoming decennial count, the 2020 census. And then there's three real takeaways that I'd like you to take away here. One, the census is important. Two, it's safe, secure, and confidential. And three, it's easy. It's actually easier than ever. So getting back to the importance, Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution mandates a count of the population every 10 years. So that count is coming up here in 2020. That's the main reason was to apportion the House of Representatives to get our representation based on the population of the United States. So it is really important. There, in other ways that are important, it's kind of been some of the themes of the night are dollar figures. And what kind of dollar figures are tied to this 2020 count and the census data itself? Well, there's $675 billion federal dollars that are allocated every year. That's annually based on census data. That's more than the Department of Defense makes. So I don't know what $675 billion is. I'm happy to see $675. So I was trying to figure out what $675 billion of anything was. I reached out to the director, Tim Kuhn of the UT Data Center, and he kind of helped break that down a little bit. So I'll try and convey some of that information to you all. A 1% undercount in the state of Tennessee costs the state $69 million when you look at only 5 programs. And that's 5 big programs that help children in the state. That's Child Health Insurance Program, that's Medicaid, that's a couple of Title IV ECHO, foster care, adoption assistance, and the Child Development, Welfare and Development Fund. That's $69 million for a 1% undercount. So if you take the population of the state, 6.5 million times 1%, and then do the math on the 69 million, that's over $1,000 a person just for those 5 programs that the state gets. Bring that a little closer to home here. Smith County gets over $800,000 in Title I educational assistance grants. That allocation of that money is based on census data. Working with the Municipal Technical Advisory Service out of UT. In state revenue shares, a city like Carthage gets about $140 a person allocated based on the population, and they use the census data as that gold standard. So that's one thing that makes the census so important. Is you take $140, we were just looking at multipliers just a minute ago. You multiply that times 2,300 people, you're up to $300,000, and then we only get to count this. We get this count once every 10 years, so we got to get it right. So you get to multiply all these figures by 10 as well. So 300,000 times 10 gets to be big numbers pretty quickly. I was listening to, I don't have a source for this, I was listening to public radio, and the state of Mississippi had a study, and they were looking at the cost of missing a child, and they equated that to about $2,700. I'm going to keep looking until I find the source for that. But the census is very important from the representation standpoint and from the dollar figure standpoint. It's safe, secure, and confidential. Your information, your public information, your personally identifiable information is not shared with anyone. Once it hits the Census Bureau, your name, your address, that's removed. It's truncated. Your statistical data is kind of aggregated into essentially a neighborhood block. They're called census blocks. Essentially, if you think of an urban area, maybe like a town square or something, about that size area. So all your statistical data is grouped into that. And then even at the presidential level, that's as far down as they can drill into this. So no one, the Department of Justice, the IRS, no one gets your name, no one gets your address. That information doesn't go out. Jumping forward a little bit to how it's easy, you can reply online this year. When you reply online and you hit submit on your census form, that information goes across the wires, and once it hits the Census Bureau, it's pulled down to a local server. So we're doing our best to encrypt, double encrypt everything, and remove it from any kind of access from the World Wide Web to make sure no one else can get it. And getting to that, the census is easy. It's easier than ever. This is the first time ever you can reply online to the 2020 count. You can reply over the phone. An automated system will let you reply in up to 13 languages. You can request linguistic support for another 52, I believe it is now. It's been climbing. It was 40-something when I first started giving this spill. And then if you don't like that, you'll receive those postcards inviting you to respond in March. If you're not happy with that, you can wait. You'll get a couple more postcards reminding you to respond, and then you'll get a paper questionnaire, and you can respond that way too. So how can we as partnership specialists help you? Well, we're here really as technical advisors. We don't come with a budget ourselves, but we come with reach back to our Philadelphia office and back to DC if we need to. We try and make this as easy on you all as possible and show you best practices from other communities. And that's one way, kind of getting at how you all can help Smith County and help us as well, is get this count right, and we really look to be as efficient as possible. We look towards low-hanging fruit. If you own a business, putting a census message on a bill or receipt, maybe on a church bulletin, and the good news is you don't have to write anything. We've got all the messages pre-made. The Census Bureau put a lot of time into directing that message. Now, it's not going to be quite as tailored as something you come up with your own. We found that the hometown reach seems to work the best. But if you want something to put on Facebook, if you want something to put on LinkedIn, if you want something to put on Twitter, we've got all those already. We can just send you a file and you can put it out there. We've got all kinds of digital products. If you want to post a flyer in your business, you want to send a message. And we'll be working with Mayor Mason to help the trusted voices in this community get that message out there. But I just wanted to thank you all and take a minute of your time and let you know that the 2020 census is coming and that it's incredibly important, and we're going to try and get as much of those federal dollars back here in the home counties as we can.
And we've only got about 6 months to do that, because in mid-March, every household in Smith County will get an invitation to respond to the census. So you guys had great self-response rate in 2010. You were around 85% self-response. We're expecting about a 5 to 7% increase because of the new response options. So we just would appreciate anything and everything that you could do to help us. You're the trusted voices in your community. So thank you for your time.
In those folders, there's a business card. You can reach out to Sherry. We'll make sure to get back in touch with you and help in any way possible.
Yeah, if you need any information, you need anything, just give us a call. And we also have reached out to your cities also in Smith County to make sure that they're getting the word out. We want to get everyone counted. It's very important. We only get a chance to do this every 10 years. If you miss a 3-year-old, there'll be 13 before you can count them. Just think about that. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Okay. All right. Number 2 is the review of the Barrett Group Revenue Enhancement Consulting Agreement. I touched on that earlier about what Mr. Barrett's going to do. We brought that to you for your approval. Take a motion to approve and allow me to sign that, so we can go forward with the contract.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions?
Judge, she said that she would be real happy to come and speak to us if you make her
And
there.
then we can bring it back in October.
Yeah, that's, she just.
I'm sure once it's over, she would, if we
Yeah.
approve and do this, when she's done, she will make a presentation for us.
What did you say the costs are associated with this?
If she don't find anything, nothing. If she finds something, it's kind of a split.
It's a portion of what she finds.
It's just a portion.
A portion of what she finds.
It's nothing out of pocket that she is.
No, it don't cost us anything to do.
No, it don't cost us nothing.
If she finds things in the past, in the past 12 months, it's a portion of that, the split. If she finds streams going forward, it's a portion of that for 1 year.
Yes.
But who is this, am I out of the loop, or when did she come talk, or who?
It was
Well,
at
she
the
was at the
regional
It was
meeting.
at the region.
Okay.
She's at the region, and then,
The one,
Senator, I'll say, Senator Mark Cody's one said, hey, you need to reach out to this lady and talk to her. She, her husband owns Barrett Firearms in Christiana.
Yes.
I guess she worked, she was a state rep for state senator. She worked with, lawyers, she was on the finance committee, yeah, so.
And I think all the other counties really use her.
They do.
That they are impressed with her was the feedback I got from her.
That's what I've not heard a mayor say they had a bad experience with it.
With your permission, I'll read I've got her pamphlet she gave out, and I'll read the examples or you can read them, you want to read them?
Go ahead, sir.
This is based on county population. 10,000 plus or minus was $40 result. 14,000 plus or minus, $186,564.65 reoccurring. $166,082.82 one time. 16,000, 10,800 reoccurring. 10,590.06 one time. She got 16,000 again, was 67,987.99 reoccurring. 246,990.16 one time. 19,000 plus or minus 72,000 reoccurring, 72,000 one time. And 29,000 plus or minus was $494,447 reoccurring. $109,184.04 one time. That's the results she found in counties with that population size.
And just to be clear, in reading through this, it says basically, like, she's gonna find, their group will find these things, but it's kind of up to us to implement whatever we need to do to recover them. If we don't do that, we're not allowed to recover those funds for 3 years, basically. If it's something that she found and we choose not to act on it, then we have to wait 3 years before we can do anything with it. Okay. That's what I thought it said.
Any other questions or discussions? We have a motion.
Brandon reviewed this.
Do what?
This has to Brandon's review.
Yes, he has. We made one change to court of venue from Rutherford County to Smith County. Any other questions or discussion? None. Roll call, Leslie.
Shannon Green,
Yes.
Glenn Reese,
Yes.
Terry Givens,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Brenda Kirby,
Yes.
Jason Stewart,
Yes.
Jimmy Winford,
Yes.
Daniel Cripps,
Yes.
Dalvin Pascal,
Yes.
Shannon Nietzsche,
Yes.
Erica Ebel,
Yes.
Ron Schumate,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Yes.
Kobe McKinney,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Yes.
Bill Reese,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
Yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Justin Delahaye,
Yes.
David Gross,
Yes.
Frank Woodard,
Motion passes, thank you. All right, I will take that magic motion. We'll make this motion to adjourn, second.
Second.
All right, motion to adjourn, second, all those in favor,